The story begins with Benedetta's father, who talks with an abbess named Felicita. He puts his daughter to the convent school. Little Benedetta learns herself to be a nun. They train her to be an independent kid there. She always takes a chance to pray solemnly. The story changes 18 years later. An adult Benedetta has grown up to be a beautiful nun. She plays a drama show in church, in front of people, and her parent joins to see her. When the show finished, there is a girl who barges in, chased by her father. It makes Benedetta falls to the floor. She is Bartolomea. She begs Mom Felicita to accept her as a nun, so her father won't hurt her anymore. Mom Felicita refuses because she has to pay to join a convent school, and she knows that girl is poor. While her father still pulls her up to go out, but Benedetta feels sympathy, asks her mother to help that girl. Meanwhile, her father doubts, but finally, he agrees to let the girl in as her daughter's gift. At night, she helps her to take a bath and gets to know each other. Before they sleep, Bartolomea asks her where the place she can defecate. She accompanies her while she talks about her father. He always hit and raped her just like her brother too. Afterward, she compliments her by saying she's beautiful. She doesn't even know what her face looks like, and Benedetta asks her to see the reflection in her eyes. As they get closer, suddenly another nun comes and they back to the room. It's morning worship time. All the nuns pray. She stands behind Benedetta, touches her body and her backside. She is surprised. One of the nuns brings some silk thread. She nudges her and the thread falls into the boiling water. As Benedetta comes by saying that she's wrong, asks her to take the thread or she will give her back to her father. Bravely, she takes it. Her hand begins blistered. A nun brings her to a clinic. At night, when everyone is ready for sleep, Benedetta screams in pain. No one knows what happened with her. As she's getting well after drink her medicine from Dr. Bartolomea visits her, she shows her blistered hand, kisses her and leaves. Mom Felicita tells her about Bartolomea that will be her roommate, so she can take care of her condition. But she doesn't agree with her decision. After quite a short time, she accepts her. She's so kind, helps her day and night. There's a moment when she takes off her clothes. Then, Bartolomea makes her clothes fall and sees her naked. She screams in pain again, a hole on her palm as she had crucified. In the morning, she meets Mom Felicita accompanied by Bartolomea. She shows her palm and her soul. She asks, "Were you in prayer when this happened?" She replies, "I was in bed, asleep." Mom Felicita continues to explain that was not a stigmata. It happened when a person was in prayer and received the stigmata. But Benedetta denies her. She replies Jesus left the traces on her and it's stigmata, so does with Bartolomea. Pasteur and the doctor checks Benedetta's palm, and he says he never saw a kind of wound like that before. Mom Felicita tells him about there's no scar on her head like Jesus had. They are both in doubt. It wasn't a stigmata. Suddenly, Benedetta is like being possessed. There is a crown of thorns on her forehead. Everyone comes to see her. Finally, Pasteur believes her. It's stigmata. Mom Felicita doesn't have a choice, so she just tries to agree about his decision. At night, she asks to touch her chest. She's lustfully now, but another nun interrupted them. They almost get caught. A moment of ceremony to transfer Mom Felicita's position is being held. They chose Benedetta as an abbess of the nunnery to change her. All of a sudden, Sus Christina refuses that decision. She doesn't want her to be an abbess, but Mom Felicita scolds her to don't deny anything. And the ceremony goes well. They both look happy to move another room. It's larger than they had before. Sus Christina doesn't still accept the thing about the decision to make Benedetta as an abbess. She confesses to Pasteur, tells him about her lies. She saw Benedetta hurt herself by scratched it on his forehead and admitted that it was a stigmata. As shown, she teaches her how to write, but Bartolomea tries to kiss her. Following the day where everyone prepares for breakfast, Pasteur calls Sus Christina to give her testimony about Benedetta in front of them. In the meantime, Sus Felicita gives her a sign to don't do that. She doesn't listen to her and starts to say about Benedetta, who has lied to all of them. She has fooled everyone by making scars on her forehead, also other marks on her body. Sus Christina has told Sus Felicita about that, but she doesn't want to have any trouble because of that. Bartolomea sculpts a statue of the Virgin Mary being whittled as a gift for Benedetta. Everyone suddenly goes out to the outside. They all see a terrible thing. Sus Christina stands at the top of the monastery. She decides to jump. Meanwhile, Sus Felicita can't help her. The next day, Sus Felicita arrives in Florence where the Mass has been attacked with the Black Plague. She has to meet the deputy pope, Alfonso. She wants to report Benedetta's sexual perversion with Bartolomeo. He visits the monastery to find out. It begins with Sus Felicita telling what she has seen. She saw both of them serve each other. Bartolomeo denies her accusation, but she continues by saying that they used a small wooden statue of the Virgin Mary for penetrating. Alfonso is totally mad to know that what they did is a crime. It's blasphemy that distorts the other things, and abomination deserves the death penalty. She still doesn't confess what she did. They send her to the ground floor, take off her clothes and a tortured tool. Finally, she confesses and received the appropriate punishment. She can't stand it anymore. That's the reason why she confesses. She is angry with her, seems like she doesn't even care about her. So, Bartolomeo shows all of them a small wooden she made to Alfonso. Now, Benedetta doesn't have any reason to deny it, but she is mad at him. Bartolomeo is expelled from the monastery and returns to being a poor girl like she used to. Benedetta is being executed and witnessed by the Mass. Before they do it, she's calling out Sus Felicita that has been brainwashed by her. She appears and says to the people if Alfonso brings the plague to Pescia. Alfonso straightly asks them to burn Benedetta alive, but the Mass rebelled and attacked him. Bartolomeo tries to tie her up from flame while Alfonso tries to run away. He is surrounded and stabbed by Mass. Meanwhile, Benedetta is free now. She comes to him and prays for him. The situation is getting messed up. She decides to leave her and back to the monastery. Benedetta Carlini's testimony was rejected. She lived until she was 70 years old.